And moving on to the day of bad news, August 28, 2015, I will say that there's a reason that all these things happened. Number one, Dr. Donald Fairmond claimed he wanted to know the truth. We both knew that Mormonism was fake, but he needed some evidence of it. Well, to make a long story short, his staff, especially Yessie, is now protecting him from me because when I tell the truth, guys, sometimes it's not as pretty as it should be. So the Dr. Fairmond issue is a side issue. The main reason this happened was because I inquired of the Lord, what do you have to say about this matter? The matter being that it took me almost 2 years to figure out that the mice of Community Bible Church were redacting God's Word and patting themselves on the back in doing so. I know I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit because there was a miracle that took place in October. I'll get around to it when the day comes about. But what I will say is that these guys at Community Bible Church, they didn't care what the truth was. This is going to shock you. They loved their esteem and their paychecks, as did their wives. There was only one man in their midst who took a stand and left, and that was Mark. I won't mention Mark's last name, but he was like my brother Mark. He's the real deal. I think there is inherent danger in listening to the truth. Once you have the information, you can't just sit on it or ignore it. You have to act on it. What I will say is what makes me madder than anything is the withholding of information, and I'm experiencing that with a group that I'm involved with. The problem is I can't set them straight with my own logic because logic does not overrule bad decisions based on 2 Thessalonians 2:12. It just doesn't. August 28th, 2015 was the first bill I show from Dr. Aaron Bowman, cancer care specialist. He was the one that had the bad news for me that the tumor could not be completely removed. Otherwise, Dr. Jenny Waters knew that we were going to risk the potential risk of death or paralysis. I would rather have death than paralysis, and I'm grateful that God has given me life and mobility. Dr. Bowman is interesting in that I can't find a picture of him under pictures and images on the website. So I'll just do a little generic picture of his business, which moved from, well, it doesn't matter where it is now. It's in a new spot in Reno. Who cares, right? At least I know where to go to hold up my little sign that says I just want a refund. Ask me why. Dr. Bowman was a poet and a Mormon. I wonder if those two relate at all. I had offered to help him turn one of his poems into a song. Well, what he did was he ignored me, and it was probably just as well that he did that. He didn't tell me a lie like Dr. Fairmond did, that he wanted to know the truth. Dr. Fairmond said he did, but in the end he really didn't. Dr. Bowman at least didn't make that kind of a commitment. Maybe he'll figure it out at some point in his life. The same thing applies to Dr. John Childs, my dentist, my former dentist. Really liked that man a lot, but he clings to his religion no matter what kind of evidence there is to prove that Mormonism is fake. So let's move back in the time machine to August 28, 2015, where Dr. Bowman told me I had 2 months to live unless I did his chemo. And by the way, this year was a better year because I saw Alyssa. She cut my hair today, August 28th. It's been a long time since I've had a haircut. Oh, by the way, Alyssa's going to be the star in one of my YouTube videos, and she's going to make that song Conscience famous. Okay, enough for today. I'm sure there'll be something to add later, but tomorrow will be the exciting day of trying to find doctor's paperwork. I wonder if I'm going to have any luck 5 years later. I don't believe in luck, by the way. Okay, so let's go through the itty-bitty little charges that we had for the 28th. This one goes through the 28th. I won't flip this one over. This one goes through the 28th. I won't flip it over. This one goes through the 28th. I won't flip it. But this one I'll flip. Okay, Dr. Aaron Bowman, it's our first meeting. Okay, here's a note that I put on there. I need his paperwork. I didn't get any documentation about what this service really was. For some reason, it seems like cancer care specialists might be intentionally withholding information from me. In closing, so I was told in 2014 that something devastating would happen in 2015. In 2015, the terminal brain tumor hit, I was then told, I was instructed, I was informed with these words, I'll sustain you. And then when I was ready to just pass away from this horrible life that chemo had created for me, God told me this. Oh, so frustrating. I have work for you to do. He didn't say it in that tone of voice. His tone of voice with me is just so even keeled, just like an information central. I have work for you to do, and I'm still working on it.